Grab him!
Was there moments where I was worried or concerned about going too far? No. My mentality on the set was we don't have any huge stars, no Tom Cruise. We don't have much money. So what we do have is balls. So I decided, let's go 200, 200, 200 on everything, on the sexual content, on the violence, on the gore, and then scale it back in the edit if need be. So no, I was never concerned about going too far. This is the kind of movie, in my opinion, obviously, that begs to go too far.
This next question is very uncomfortable.
It was my approach when I started scoring the film. There was different approaches, and that's a very interesting thing to talk about, because what I really hate in movies is wall-to-wall music. When there's music all the time, to me, it's like music all the time is like, it's almost like no music at all. It's like somebody talking and talking and talking. After a while, you don't listen to him anymore. So I think you have to use the music with some kind of a feeling. You know, John Carpenter he always says that he puts music in scenes when the scenes really need the music, but he just doesn't put music out there just for the sake of having music in the film. And when I did Malicious, that was the same thing. Sometimes it was very orchestral. Sometimes it was very like sneaky, like a snake. You know, the opening of the movie. There's a very sneaky music like this, because you see the car driving, going to the house. You know, going for the house, and it's like a snake. And I wanted to have some kind of a big orchestral kind of thing. But for a lot of other scenes, I didn't want to be out loud. You know, I didn't want to say like, this is gonna be horrible and we're gonna put a lot of music. I wanted to use sometimes as little sounds as possible. I was thinking about Michael Kamen, who did Die Hard 1 and 2. I really love the soundtrack for Die Hard 2. And sometimes you see Bruce Willis looking at something and you just hear a dun, 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 and that's it. And I think it's beautiful because everything is there. You don't need to put like, you know, it's like there's something going, you can feel through the music that there's something going on that is not right, but you don't really know what it is. And it creates some kind of uneasiness, which is interesting. And in the movie, there's a lot of scenes. There's not a lot of characters in Malicious, so there's a lot of scenes where you don't know what's going on between the characters. You don't know who is behind the door. It's small things like two guys ringing at the door. Who is that strange guy that we brought to our house? It's in the details, and it's how people look at each other and everything. And I wanted the music sometimes to match these details.
Home invasion movies have been done before. We all know that. We've seen it a million times. You know, a family, a stranger comes in, and that's it. What Kevin Internato, who plays Jesse in the picture, co-wrote the screenplay with me, and I did, is try to subvert the expectations. Obviously, I'm not going to spoil the movie here, but once you've seen it, you'll see that we take conventions that are known within the home invasion subgenre and kind of put little spins on them here and there. So that was important to me on a visual standpoint. And it was tough. You know, it was tough for me to pull this off. And I didn't pull it off 100%. But on a visual standpoint, I kept yelling on set the whole time, this is not a Lifetime movie. This is not a Lifetime movie. Because, you know, it's very easy to fall into the point and shoot mode when A, your film is 75% dialogue, and B, you have no time. And everybody's rushing you, the 80s up your ass. No, John, we gotta move. I'm like, fuck you, dude, I'm not my shot. You know? So I had to be creative, not only in terms of my shots, but in navigating how to get my shots. So it was important to me to have some stylistic moments. I'll give you one example or two examples. So there's a shot of where we see William from under the glass of the table, and we see him on a low angle. So I could have just shot him like this, that, this, that, move on. No, I wanted that shot because I felt that it augmented the sense of oppressiveness, and also the glass is symbolic. We're starting to see the true person, the looking glass, if you will, or the top shot of the teenager in the bathroom. That shot, I stole it from my own set because we didn't have time to do it. But then we were going to shoot something else in that bathroom. So I'm like, fuck it, let's rush it. Let's get the shot. I wanted the shot. So all that to say, I did my best with limited time, limited money to do something that wasn't just like bang, 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 and something that's unique within the subgenre.
I give and I give and I give. I was brought into the process because I gave a lot of money to John Fallon, and I say, if I give you $2 million, will you let me score your movie? And he said, yeah, sure. No, that's not true, but it could have been true. No, the fact is, it's true that I think when I started working on the music, I think the editing was not final. I
brought Rurik in at the rough cut stage because I had a very small window to finish the film as per the investors. So they kind of put a gun to my head, and they're like, okay, now you've done shooting, you have a couple months to do it before the American film market. So then I got Rurik in on the rough cut stage and started hustling at that stage.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
that's it. But the soundtrack I didn't change that much when the editing changed. Maybe some scenes were cut out. Maybe one scene was cut out. I don't really remember, but it didn't change that much. We actually exchanged some ideas, and sometimes I was told like maybe there are voices over there, and maybe we could make it more simple, so maybe we can get rid of the voices. It was this kind of thing. It didn't change that much, the music throughout the thing. I mean, I'm scoring a film right now, and it's endless. It never stops. They say, oh, maybe they don't know what they want. So it's always changing like that. It's kind of fun. But with Malicious, I remember when you said to me, well, that scene is cool, but maybe that sound, we can get rid of it. And that was about it. That was about it. I really didn't change the track all over again, So it was something.
I knew what I wanted, and I worked with Rurik before on my first feature as a director at The Shelter, and I knew what he's capable of, and we kind of have like a synergy. We're kind of like on the same wavelength, and I like working with people that I connect creatively with. And so I knew what I wanted, and he knew how to give it to me. And I had minor adjustments here and there, but for the most part, he pretty much, 85% gave me what I wanted. So it's good. It's always easy to work with Rurik for me. So directors have different styles. My style on set is I'm very communicative. And I form relationships with all of my actors, individual relationships. And every time I give anybody any notes, it's never publicly. I always take them aside alone. So it creates a sense of intimacy. Kevin, for example, had a very intense role. Him and I spoke before, and I wanted to understand his process. So once I understood his process, I knew how to communicate with him. So Kevin was like really short. I'm like, cut. Kevin, come here. You gave me a 10, give me a 5. That's it. That was it. And then he'd give me a 5 and it would work. And then, I had other actors like Melissa, like the wife, Lauren. With her, it was more talking about the role and discussing the layers and stuff like that. So for me, I love working. I mean, I come from an acting background, so I understand the acting process. I love actors. And it's one of the perks, if you will, to be on a set and work with actors to create something. And it's even more impactful for me when you wrote the script, because then, and the same thing happened to me on The Shelter with Michael Pare, because then you work with these people to create what you incepted in the first place. And then you sit back and you watch it come to life, and it's a trip, man.
If at any time you want this to stop, it'd be my pleasure to make love to Lauren.
First of all, most music that I do, I like to use real sounds like audio, things that I record myself. There's very, very little samples. It's piano, it's keyboard, it's my voice that I change sometimes to make it strange or unrecognizable, or very odd sounds. It could be like the screams of a kid, or I don't know, a fish salesman in Japan. His voice is so strange that it becomes an instrument when I put some sound on it. The thing is, I didn't want to make it too obvious. Sometimes it was kind of classical because with the strings, very classical things. But sometimes it wasn't classical. I like when it's surprising. I don't think it's very interesting to do music that really sounds like a music. Like you can ask anybody or in artificial intelligence, and they will do exactly what you're doing. I like to give it some kind of an edge, And we were talking about Michael Kamen earlier, and that's a very interesting thing because there's a guy from the 50s or 60s. He's a French contemporary composer. Like basically, he's doing the music that nobody understands. Like this kind of music. And at the time, people were like, "What the fuck is that music all about?" And you can see that 40, 50 years later, people like Michael Kamen or even James Wan in his horror movies, they're using these kind of very strange sounds that are the direct, the direct continuation of what that strange guy was doing 50 years ago. So what was strange yesterday becomes the norm today. And I if you listen to the soundtrack to Insidious, it's very strange, very strange. Almost you can't sing a note because it's between noise, texture, ambient. You don't really know what you're listening to. And sometimes I was interested in that as well.
Yeah, at some point in the film, the teenage daughter puts on Walkman.
Yeah.
Walkman, yeah, 80s baby. And she's laying in bed, and she puts on like her earbuds, and she listens to a song which Rurik composed, and Ode did the vocals on. So for me, when I was editing the film, I didn't really know what I was going to do with that scene. She was just going to put the things on, and then we cut, and that's it. But then he created with Ode this song, and I was it's like there's a music video online about this song, and it's probably one of my favorite pieces in the film. And then I got inspired. So I took the song, so she puts on the earbud, I took the song, she plays it, and then I use the song as it meant to carry us into the next scene. And I'm just sharing this story because sometimes music can inspire the director, in the edit.
What you're saying about this track, because there was a temp track as very often in the movies. There was another song playing when you sent me the film, and you said I need a song that kind of has the same mood, and I listened maybe 10 seconds of the song that you sent me, and I said okay, I let's see what
that.
something like this. And I actually we wrote and I wrote and we recorded the song in 4 hours. Aude was in my house, and I was writing lyrics, and I said and she said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, you're gonna sing this right now." So she was like, "What?" She didn't know, and she went to my room and rehearsed for like 30 minutes. Came back, we did two takes. And then I added the piano, the thing, I mixed it, and it was over. 4 hours. And I think it was interesting because it was an instinct kind of thing. It was not overthought. It really was natural. And I think sometimes you get the best of what you do using this kind of method.
All my shadows always bright.
So how did us working together shape the product? Did, I influence his music? Did his music influence me? I think yes, both. I think both. I think for the most part, it was, I was Rurik saw the movie and I told him what I'd like. But Rick is, this is a very creative person. And I'm very open-minded. I'm not like, oh, do it my way and that's it. Now, I want to hear, I hired this motherfucker for a reason. He's great. So I want to hear what he has to say. So often enough, how about this? How about that? How about that? And I'm like, oh shit. It's not what I had in mind, but that rocks. So I'm like, we go with that, and we work on that. And in terms of me influencing his music, well, obviously I would have directions, but I liked it when he went outside the box. Would you agree with that, Mr. Rurik?
Yes, I wonder if I have to say it with the voice of Bruce Dickinson, because I see you have the Iron Maiden T-shirt and there's an Iron Maiden thing, so I can speak like this. Yeah, it's true. Actually, that's exactly what you said. I remember I was in the south of France with a friend. We were next to a river, and we called each other, and you said, "Yeah, I'm doing this film, and I would like you to do the soundtrack." And that's exactly what you said. You said, I would like you to do it because you like to think outside the box. That's exactly what you said. So it was like, hey, so that's your expression, and I love this. And it is true. It is true. I guess yes, that's what I said earlier. I think maybe sometimes people expect you to do a by the numbers thing, but I don't find it interesting either as an actor, as a writer, as a composer, or even your film. There's always something you don't know what's going on. Who is that guy, Kevin? What's going on in that film? If everything was predictable, what's the point? That's that's also how I live my life. If every day is the same, it fucking sucks. So, so
it's true.
Yeah. So yeah. I think you're right. Yeah, you gave me ideas and directions, like with the end credits. You said at some point he has to explode because we're gonna have the title on the screen or something.
Yeah.
But it was very factual. It was not like no, yeah, you were open-minded. That is true. That is really true. Yeah.
Well, I just want to put an aside because I find it fascinating. It happens a lot in this business where people are going to hire an artist because they like the artist or they respect the artist and his talent. But then they try to control everything he does, and then the end result winds up what they think is right when they're not artists.
Yeah.
So, if you hire an artist because you respect his talent, you have to keep an open mind and be welcome to new ideas and new angles. And I think that's what makes it exciting. I mean, the music in Malicious is nothing obvious. It's not your standard, thriller score. It goes into different places. And Rurik and I didn't have the opportunity to take it as far as I wanted to take it because, I had people to answer to who wanted something more cookie cutter. I wanted to go here. They wanted to go there. We wound up kind of in the middle, but God willing, on our future project, I will make sure that does not happen again.
Here we go.
I like the fact that you are open to new things and crazy things, and you don't want to do things by the book. That's one of your qualities.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm being tested right now.
I haven't shown the movie to a lot of people except Aude, but I think the incredible violence of certain scenes, it's unbelievable sometimes. It really is. Like, what the fuck? And you don't see that coming. The movie is very like a cool water, and then all of a sudden, I think the audience are moved because there's something happening. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but they're moved and as well as shocked as well, because it's very, very brutal. I think it's a shock to a lot of people. Have you experienced screenings, John? Have you been in a room with people? What happened?
Yeah, no, that's when actually because post-production was a challenge to get what I wanted creatively. And I was kind of really depressed, to be honest. You know, when you're so close to something for a long time and you have obstacles in your way of achieving what you feel is the right thing, you don't see it anymore. You don't know what the hell's going on. And I got pretty bummed. I'm like, fuck, this movie sucks. Piece of shit. You know. And then we had a premiere in Beverly Hills. It's the first time I saw it with an audience, and it just popped. It popped, and, you know, people reacted at the right moments, laughed at the right moments. And then when, you know, I cranked up the violence, people, like, the first act of violence especially, is people didn't see it coming. And they were like, whoa, what the fuck? It's kind of like it comes out of nowhere. And that's one thing I tried to do, as I don't know if you've noticed, as the movie progresses, I'm just making it more violent. So it starts really, the first violent scene, you know, it's Kevin getting out of a chair and I'll just leave it at that, is very violent. But then it gets even more violent. So yeah, man. So, you know, I actually agree with what Rurik said. You know, people are shocked, entertained, moved, because there is some character. It's not just, you know, blood and guts. There is some character stuff going on, and also surprised. I think surprised is what I would like, that people are kind of, oh, I didn't see that coming. And I did get some reactions that way. You know, people, dude, I didn't see it coming. I didn't see that coming. So yeah.
You know, sometimes when you edit a movie or you score a movie, you see the scene so many times that you don't give a shit, or you don't feel anything.
You don't see it.
Fuck. You don't see it. You're like, fuck this scene again. But the first violent scene, when Kevin comes out of the chair, and every time I saw it, I was scoring. I was like, oh, come on, man. Like, really, like it was every time it was too much, you know, which is amazing, because that really shows something. It really was atrocious, you know, not malicious, but it was like atrocious, like in French. Atroce means like really monstrous, like you know, something. It was really something. Yeah, the violence in this film is unbelievable, but it's not just violence for violence. There's a reason for it. That's also the quality of the film. There's a reason for this violence, you know.
Yeah.
Beautiful lake.
It's nice, right? I read it's the deepest one in the state.
Service sucks. No Wi-Fi?
Maybe we should have a talk with her this weekend.
Hi.
Can I help you?
I'm hoping you can. Wow. It's a beautiful house.
Thank you.
I parked in your driveway. My truck broke down on 507 there.
Well, no, you should just stay here and eat with us. I mean, right, honey? Yeah, just stay. Why don't you have a seat?
Like whiskey, Jesse?
I used to bartend, and I make a special drink that I know you're gonna love. It's really simple. Well, I guess a toast is in order then. It's a family.
It's a family.
To the family.
So, here's how tonight's gonna go. I'm gonna ask you 3 simple questions that I already know the answers to. Question 1. Have you ever been brought up on sexual harassment charges? 6 to be exact. No. I'm actually a nice guy. I provide a service for people as well. It's for those who are unable. Real man would just fess up to his sins. Is that a yes or a no? That's the way it's gonna be. That's the way it's gonna be.